hello, and welcome back to the Hopeless Herpers podcast. As always, I'm here with my grandpa, and we're pretty excited because we get to share one of our latest herping trips with you guys, and trust me, it was a good one. Before we did that, I did want to shout out my friend Evan. He recently gave me his GoPro Hero 11, so we now have a third camera, so hopefully all the technology works out and we can actually get some video like we did last time. But big thanks to Evan for that. So, Papa, now that we have another GoPro, what do you think about when we go out in the field? What if I mounted a GoPro on you? That way we could see herping from Grandpa's perspective.
The more filming, the better.
I think
more shots you have.
I think it would be cool to get your perspective.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, comment down below if you would like to see us put a GoPro on Grandpa when we go out in the field and get shots from Grandpa's perspective. So I think it was last year on the podcast we had, I think it was the one that we did at the end of the year talking about some of the things we'd hope to do this year. And one of the things that we had talked about doing was going to this place called Snake Road. Now, I have been watching other herping YouTubers for a couple years now, and that's kind of been a common theme. A lot of them have gone there and made videos. So I was like, well, we should try it and we should see what it's like. And that's what we did this October. We went out to Snake Road to see if it really was as great as people said it was, because everyone had great things to say about it. All the trips were like super insane. So we were going to try to get a little bit of that action. And I remember when we pulled up to the entrance, which it's like 3 or 4 miles to get back there. It's pretty crazy. But seeing the bluffs in the distance was one of the most beautiful things like I've ever seen. They're just like 200-foot bluffs, like just the most beautiful rock you could ever think of. And I just remember like the feeling like we're actually going to this legendary place, and like in 2 hours from now, like who knows what we could see. So we started down the trail pretty early. It was around, I think, about 10 o'clock. And it started off a little cool. We had our jackets on, and we were hoping that it was going to warm up to bring the snakes out. But I think after an hour, we found our first snake, which was a northern cottonmouth. And that was pretty cool because that was only our second one ever together, Papa.
Yeah, it was real nice. Started off the interest in firing us up.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Papa, we're going to the craziest place on earth. This place, who knows what we could find. So I talked it up pretty good, didn't I? I made it pretty big deal.
Sounded like it'd be a good place. But it turned out better than we thought. I didn't jump the gun there, did I?
No. I'm sure people know we're making this podcast that it turned out pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll definitely dive into that. So basically, after the first cottonmouth, I think that guy was quite an early bird because I think it was a little while before we found any more. But we decided to move over to the bluff and actually walk the edges of the bluff. There's a lot of little caves and little cracks and stuff that we knew the snakes like to hide in. So we started walking on the edge of that. And, I mean, it wasn't very long, and we just started finding cottonmouth after cottonmouth after cottonmouth after cottonmouth. We found, I think, about 10 of them just kind of in that on the wall. And we did have quite a few close calls because the leaves had just dropped, lots of camouflage, and sometimes I got a little closer than I would have liked to.
Yeah, it's good to, if you go there, it's good in that time of year. Watch where you're stepping.
For sure.
Yeah, we found a couple on the road early when it was cool. Like you said, when we got to the bluff, we started, the weather started picking up and the snakes. More than we probably figured.
Yeah, I've noticed that the snakes kind of behave kind of like me and you. When it's cool, they're inside trying to keep warm. And then once the sun starts coming out and it heats up, here they come.
Now let's go get them.
So when we got back on the road for a little bit, and we kind of joined up with this group of people, these group of friends that were kind of hiking along, and got to talk to them, which was really cool. Kind of build some new friendship, and they were locals in the area who went to the road all the time, and so they're like, "Do you guys want to come with us? And like we'll show you kind of where all the snakes are, where the quote unquote secret spots are or whatever. And so we just started following them around, and man, they showed us some just super cool areas, not like super secret spots, but kind of like areas that the snakes generally hang out, which we would obviously not know because we'd never been. But it was pretty cool just to meet all those people. There was also a couple other YouTubers there, content creators. One of those who was in that friend group, was Sean from Hiking with Sean. He's got some really, really crazy, beautiful shorts and stuff documenting just nature and his hikes and stuff. And then we also came across Jesse from Forgotten Friend Reptile TV, and he was really cool to talk to. I've been chatting with him on Instagram and stuff, and he has so many cool videos and just a lot of really cool stuff that you guys should definitely check out.
Yeah, I don't think we met anybody that wasn't friendly or cooperative. The people was just as nice as the area.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best things about Snake Road. Is just seems like everybody's just a cool, neat person, and most of them are coming there just to see snakes, just to see reptiles, and yeah, there's just so many cool people there. I think it was about around noon that we really started to see a significant increase in the snake activity, mostly cottonmouth, of course. That seemed to be the most active snake, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
By far.
By far.
At first, we were literally finding like multiple cottonmouths in a minute, like probably 4 or 5 cottonmouths in 1 minute. And I put up a short, and you can see in the video, basically for like 30 to 40 seconds, I'm just keep my camera rolling, and it's like, oh, there's a snake, oh, there's a snake, oh, there's a snake. And that we also ended up being in an area where we met another guy who is a pretty regular at the area, and he said that at sometimes he's found like 75 cottonmouths in like one small area at the right time. So we were in that area, so we were seeing tons and tons and tons and tons of them. But it was actually a den site too, so it was just really, really crazy.
Probably the best part of the day. Early, an hour or two earlier, it was good too. So that was in the better hunting part of the day.
Yeah, definitely around, I would say 11 to noon is probably in the most points, because that's kind of when the sun is at its center point, I guess, and the snakes can get the most sunlight, I guess.
Oh yeah, it seems to be a bearing. They love the heat and the cool days.
Did it make you nervous at all being around all those cottonmouths? Kind of walking through there and like, I mean, we were very close to them at some points, but did it make you a little nervous?
I wouldn't say I wasn't nervous.
No.
Cautious though.
Mm-hmm.
I was on more of an alert. Sort of like when you're driving in a heavy deer country.
Yeah.
You're a lot more alert when you're driving.
So one of the cool areas that we got to experience a couple times was there's a huge crevice type cave system thing. I don't really know what to call it. And every time we went by there was a ton of cottonmouths back in the cracks. And it's a really, really cool, interesting spot because there's like 3 different levels of like holes that go back into this crack. One that's right at like feet level, one that's probably 4 feet off the ground, about shoulder level, and then one that's just above your head at about probably 8 feet. And the first time we went there, it was super funny because in the very bottom of the hole, there was a little cottonmouth sticking his head up. And then I look up to the second hole, and there's a cottonmouth sticking his head out. And then on the third one, same thing. There's a cottonmouth sitting up there just poking his head out. And so I don't know what was asking me to call it, what I called it, but I started calling it the Cottonmouth Hotel. I don't know if this spot has ever been named before, but I have officially dubbed it the Cottonmouth Hotel. So unless someone tells me it's called something else, that's what I'm calling it, because it is super insane. 3 stories full of cottonmouths.
I think you have copyright rights on that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just sounds good. It's Cottonmouth Hotel. Just the home where all the cottonmouths go. I'm sure those caves or whatever go pretty far back, and that's probably one of the big like hibernaculous spots that they go in the wintertime to just hibernate.
I would think back in there's more room, more snakes.
Yeah.
Be interesting to know how many back in there.
Yeah, there'd be no way to really tell.
No?
So I have a list right here of all the different species that we found. So I did want to kind of talk about some of them because there's a lot of unique stuff there. So obviously we got cottonmouths, but Papa, do you have a guess on how many cottonmouths we found? Because I went through in the video and I counted as much as I could. I know we didn't show every single one of them, but I think I got most of them. How many cottonmouths do you think we found? We found 75 snakes for the total day. How many of those do you think were cottonmouths?
I would think 50 or more. I would guess.
Yeah. So it was actually 61. 61 cottonmouths.
Yeah.
So now 61 out of the 62 cottonmouths that we've ever found were at Snake Road.
It was interesting. We were busy the week I was here in Tennessee, and we were going to take this trip, and we didn't know if we could fit it in, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah. So we also got to see a couple of my lifers that I'd really hoped to find. One of those were the Midwestern worm snake, the plain-bellied water snake, western ribbon snakes, which are probably some of the most beautiful ribbon snakes that we found, because we actually we got to see peninsula ribbon snakes down in Florida, northern ribbon snakes up in Michigan, and then this fall we got the western ribbon snake. So it's kind of cool to see. I mean, that's a huge distance range from Florida to Michigan and to Illinois, to see kind of all the little differences in snakes that are like really, really similar, but just have a lot of visible differences.
Yeah, you wouldn't, because there were so many cottonmouths, you don't want to negate the idea that we did have a variety and quite a few other snakes.
Mm-hmm.
If there hadn't been so many cottonmouth, you would still have a great variety. Even without that many.
Do you know how many species we found that day?
I guess 6, but I'm not sure.
So we actually got 8 species. I don't know. You may not have seen all of them because we did split up a couple times, but I found 8 species. And I think, how many lifers was it? I got 4 lifers, and I think you got 6 lifers. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah. So one of our biggest targets for going to Snake Road, we were really hoping to see some rough green snakes, because I hadn't found any this year in Tennessee. I don't really know why. I thought that I'd be able to, because I do spend quite a bit of time out in the field and in some good habitat that is likely to have green snakes, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But while we were at Snake Road, we found 3 of them, and I was kind of curious what you thought of them, because they're one of my favorite snakes. They're super slender, and they're just solid green. Like, to see a snake solid green climbing up in the trees is like, I don't know, it's just picturesque.
Yeah, fun to watch. Unique snakes. Definitely one you enjoy watching.
Yeah, I feel like I could just sit and watch a green snake just climb around in a tree like forever.
That was a good view we had in the tree. Yeah, he gave us a good show.
He did. Yeah, and I actually didn't spot any of the green snakes. Our friend Matt, who we spent a lot of the day with, he actually spotted 2 of them. One of them was on the rock face of the wall, just kind of climbing around, which was really cool. We found a couple snakes like that. There was a gray rat snake, a juvenile, that was like that, just kind of sitting on the wall. And the other green snake was like crossing the road, and then it just climbed up into the shrubs. But it was really cool.
Yeah, it's neat to see how some of the younger snakes seem to have more color to them.
Oh, yeah, especially the cottonmouths.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because you could look at a baby, like a baby gray rat snake, a juvenile, and then looking at an adult, and unless you really knew, you would just be like, those are 2 different snakes. There's no way they could be the same one, especially because like rat snakes can get 4, 5, even 6 feet long sometimes, and then you're looking at a little baby that's only like a foot long.
Quite a difference.
Yeah,
they get to be big though.
So we did take a little break in the afternoon to run in and grab some stuff, grab food, and I'm I'm not too sure, but I wish we kind of would have stayed a little longer because I think we were leaving just as kind of the not just as the peak started, but we were finding so much stuff, and then we decided to leave. I'm curious if we would have stayed, if we would have kept like finding stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You never know. I think we needed the break though. I think our senses were in a sensory overload.
Yeah, that may be towards the end of the peak period that day.
Yeah. So it was actually really, really sad. So as we were leaving, we started driving out, and Matt, who we were walking with, he stopped us and he let us know that somebody had just fallen off of one of the big cliffs. They're like 150 to 200 foot high cliffs on the bluff, and somebody had fallen like right while we were there, which was super sad. And I mean, as we drove out, the ambulances were everywhere, and what I'm assuming was even the family of the person that fell was kind of hanging around. So it kind of did put a little bit of a dampener on our high from that afternoon, but it just kind of goes to show how careful you have to be when you're out in anywhere in nature, especially, you know, on cliffs like that. But I mean, like I was talking about, being around venomous snakes, you have to be careful. You have to be cautious. You have to be, like you said, like you're driving and you got to be so cautious. But yeah, that definitely was pretty sad to have that happen, especially having it happen so close to us. And like, yeah.
Yeah, stay on alert and if you're at the top of the cliffs, yeah, you got to be extra careful.
Mm-hmm. Not much room for error.
No, you don't get mistake twice usually on that.
Yeah. So we after we had kind of gotten done with our stop, we came back to walk the road one more time. It was getting pretty late in the evening, and definitely, like you're talking about, the kind of peak period was kind of coming to an end. We really didn't see too much. We probably found a couple repeat snakes, but we did actually find another green snake, which was cool. And it wasn't like terrible or anything, but a lot slower than it was, you know, in the morning and the midday.
Yeah, I was still getting a lot of good steps in on my Fitbit, though.
Oh yeah, you love that Fitbit, don't you?
Well, it shows me not to be lazy.
Oh yeah, well that's a good thing. So it was actually kind of interesting because me and Grandpa were planning on actually staying the night and waking up and doing the road again the next day, but we kind of talked about it, and we were kind of thinking that we had such a good day today. And, you know, I was like, I got everything that I had kind of really hoped to see. And Grandpa's like, yeah, it was pretty good. So we decided it'd be kind of easier to just go ahead and go home and not have to worry about, you know, going to a hotel, trying to figure. And this place is pretty rural. It's not like there's dozens of hotels, and some of them are pretty far, and we would have had to done a lot of, I say hard work, but, you know, we would have had to figure all that stuff out, figure out food and all that. So I think it ended up being for the better, just being able to go home because, hey, listen, I could not have asked for a better day.
Me neither. Didn't you talk to somebody that went the next day?
Yes.
That it wasn't as good, or?
I think Matt went the next day, or he knew someone who did, and he said that it ended up not being, for sure, not as good as the first day, and it was quite a bit cooler, probably only around like 70 degrees as a high. And they said it definitely wasn't as good. So I think we actually lucked out in kind of choosing to do that.
Yeah, I think we maximized that trip.
Oh, for sure. I was really happy to be able to get 2 whole videos out of that, because that's pretty rare to be able to do that.
Yeah, with one trip.
Oh, for
one
sure.
day.
Yeah. But yeah, I was absolutely blown away with this trip. I mean, I'll say it 100 times. This trip was absolutely insane. And it was way better than I could have expected. Even from seeing all the videos and stuff, listen, it doesn't compare to the videos. It's way better. It's more beautiful. There's probably more snakes than you think there are. And it's just the most incredible place that you could ever go, honestly.
Yeah, we had talked about this trip. You had kind of researched and planned it. And I'm glad we took the time to go.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get back up to Southern Illinois and get back on that road.
Definitely I want to. For me too.
Oh yeah. Let's hope though that we can get hit it at the right time like we did this time. I wasn't sure because we did go a little later than I wanted to, right about the end of October, and I wasn't really sure if the productivity would be as good because I know the beginning of October is usually the best time. But we hit it at the perfect time because we found an absolute ton of stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to Grandma and see if she can migrate from Michigan a little earlier this year.
Oh yeah.
Of course,
we
we
can
were
make
we were here working on the truck, but
Oh yeah. You're a uncertified mechanic.
backyard mechanic.
Yep. You get the job done. One thing I did want to add before we kind of wrap up the podcast, we actually went on a trip recently, and it didn't end up faring as well as we had hoped. I actually traveled down to Florida to stay with Grandpa and to go out for a couple of days to see if we could find some snakes. But I don't know what was wrong with Florida.
Had a cold week, unusually cold, and didn't work out.
Yeah.
I got a lot of my steps in, but snakes were not hard to find.
Yeah, we went out. I think the first 3 days, and it was just we got skunked. The best day of the week, that was the warmest. I think was maybe a high of like 75 was the warmest.
Yeah, maybe.
if that. But we decided to go out to one of the border islands in the Gulf, and we had to take a boat out and everything. And we had heard that this island has tons of rattlesnakes and coach whips, which would both be lifers for me. And so we went out there to try to see if we could find some rattlesnakes, and it felt really good. Like I had pretty high hopes. I thought we were going to be able to get lucky and get some stuff, but it was just nothing.
Yeah, good area, good terrain. Just snakes were not out.
We did actually see, well, I saw one snake. I think it was a coach whip, although when I kind of watched the video on my phone, which wasn't very good, but when I watched the video, it could have been a racer. So I don't know. I'm not really sure, but it had kind of crawled under a palmetto. I didn't really see it very well, so didn't want to like try to catch it if it was a rattlesnake. So I kind of just waited for it to get out in the open, and obviously a racer or coach whip, you give them 2 seconds and they're gone.
Yeah, glancing, that was over.
But as always, it was a good time to hang out with you and get some exercise and to just enjoy, although it was cold, the beautiful Florida landscape.
Nice trip, though.
Yeah.
Felt like I was on a vacation there.
Yeah, you're always on a vacation, though.
Yeah, how can I say that? Yeah, retired. It's kind of nice. I keep just busy, but not too busy.
Oh, well, you stay more busy than probably most people who are retired.
Yeah, not work, though, tinkering.
Yeah. I was also surprised because one of the days we were trying to go out and find some alligators at one of our local alligator spots, which is probably, I don't know for sure, but I think it's probably one of the best places in Florida to see alligators, wouldn't you say? I think it's pretty up there in the like quantity of alligators. But we went out and it was really, really windy. Probably the windiest I've ever seen. And there was 0 alligators out, which really surprised me.
Yeah, we've probably done that trip probably 7, 8 times at least. I have, and first time I never seen one gator.
Yeah. Even the locals were, kind of surprised that there was no alligators out.
Yeah, unusual.
Well, as always, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. Feel free to ask us any questions that you have down in the YouTube comments, or you can email us at thehopelessherpers@gmail.com, and we will get back to you. Stay tuned because we do actually have another podcast to record this week, getting to talk about our year 2023 and all the trips we went on, a summary of kind of all the lifers we got, all that cool stuff. Some of my favorite podcasts to record are the end of the year ones to just go over everything that we found. So stay tuned for that. That should be released probably a week after this one comes out. So I'm pretty excited about that. How about you?
Oh, yeah. It's always good to reminisce from the past year of the good times.
But yeah, we will see you guys then. Thanks for listening.
Bye.